This guy, guys, welcome back to more esports news. My name is Jake. This guy's name is Josh Hawley. He's a U.S. Senator from Missouri, and he's trying to pass legislation as well as a bill that's now been produced. I will link it down below for all of you guys, as well as break it down, an anti-loot box and pay-to-win feature bill, which he is trying to pass through legislation. Of course, going to be a very long-term goal of his, and at first when this came out, I legitimately made fun of this guy, but it does seem he has a little bit more backing than we thought, and this could affect many of the video games and esports you do currently play. So first of all, I'll break it down for all of you. Like I said before, it's a bill or legislation which is actually anti-loot box or pay-to-win features, and as defined in the bill as well, what loot box and pay-to-win really are, I'm sure you guys can assume. But first of all, loot box is actually defined as any add-on transaction which is randomized in any fashion or allows the user to make one or more additional add-on transactions. And then pay-to-win, again, I'm sure you guys very well know, pretty much being any add-on which gives you interactive progression, so on and so forth. But the bill also uses the term minor-oriented several times throughout it, and if you guys are curious what that means, this pretty much targets any publisher, any distributor of a game out there which is minor oriented, that being a target audience under the age of 18. So for all you CSGO fans out there, you might think, oh, we're an M-rated game, we're 18 plus, we're probably safe, but that might not be the case. We'll touch on that in the back half of the episode. We go to other games out there as well, EA games alongside Overwatch and Rocket League and Fortnite. Pretty much a vast majority of games out there are targeted audiences under the age of 18. It's a very, very broad, minor oriented term being used throughout this bill, but with that being said, all those games I just listed and showed you guys could very well be targets of this legislation. Also, to speak, of course, of games like Overwatch themselves have already been targeted in the past. I talked about this a long time ago, but Belgium, Netherlands, they can currently not even open loot crates inside the game of Overwatch, so it's very likely that game will be targeted yet again with this new legislation if it does go forward. Let me also preface, nothing could happen as well. This could be shut down. This could be not passed. You know, I'm sure a lot of you guys are crossing your fingers for that, but if it is, a lot of the games I just mentioned could very easily be targeted and affected by that. And also, Josh himself came out with a forward article as well as an interview with Kotaku. I will link it down below for all of you guys. It is very obvious their target is going to be EA alongside FIFA. I'll give you guys a quick quote from the article as well, where they are very prominently going to be targeting those EA games and that underage audience they do serve. And he seemed very apparently going after EA in terms of FIFA as well, because they've already been involved in interactions between the two parties, and they've had a little bit of a backlash towards this legislation even being a possibility. So EA, Blizzard, Epic Games, certainly with Rocket League and now Fortnite on their list of games, those are three developers out there certainly being targeted, and it's going to be pretty crazy. Now, if you guys are CSGO fans, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are, and you think you're safe, or any M-rated game out there you think you're safe, you might not be. There's actual terminology in this bill as well used as constructive knowledge. That being, if any developer or any publisher or distributor actually has constructive knowledge of their viewer base or their player base being under the age of 18, this also applies to them, which is a very, very broad term because they never define exactly what constructive knowledge is. So for all of you guys who think, oh yeah, don't worry, CSGO is safe, it might not be, because in some broad terminology, if they can actually get this passed and this bill goes up for whatever it might be, and all of a sudden you can prove that Valve had constructive knowledge that their player base is under the age of 18, which we all are very well aware a lot of CSGO players are under the age of 18, then this too would apply to CSGO cases, which then makes this whole legislation cover pretty much every game in existence. Because if you can somehow prove that Valve has constructive knowledge, again, I keep on saying this because I don't really know how they're going to define this and how it will actually apply in the future. If you can prove that Valve has that constructive knowledge, you can do so for a lot of developers and a ton of games out there, which then would affect the entire gaming market. Now, let me again preface by saying there is no way anyone can guarantee this will be passed. It'll of course be fought on both sides of things, but it's certainly a possibility now as the bill has now been published. Again, it will be linked down below for all of you, and your favorite esport, your favorite game could be under the effect of this bill / legislation. And I'm super curious what you guys think about this, because it might not be a bad thing. When we look at the pay to win side of this, I'm definitely a fan of, the pay to win being taken out, but in the terms of why this is actually being brought up, I'm not surprised at all, and you guys might not be surprised at all, as this senator, that being Josh Hawley, to bring this bill into fruition, to try and pass this bill himself. He himself admits he's not even a gamer himself. What a surprise. But then a whole other side of this, and I'm really wondering what you guys think about this, because you guys have much more expansive minds than I do. If this were to pass, how this affects games, it's a complete question mark. Because could it be a great thing? Yes, I'm not a huge fan of pay-to-win features. I don't use them whatsoever, but some of you guys at least like having the options. I wouldn't mind seeing those go. When it comes to in-game cases though, and crates, I'm an adult. I, fully give my consent when I open those things, and to have them taken away from me if I have somehow in the future of my life extra money to put towards in-game skins that I want to buy, I want to have that option as well. There are certainly going to be back and forths from many of you guys out there, because there's also a side of things. We have seen underage kids and kids and children take advantage of credit cards, especially in the CSGO scene. We've seen kids with addictions take advantage and spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on these in-game items. But should we all be hurt by that is the gigantic question in the esports and gaming scene right now. Will this bill be passed? I have no idea, but there's the breakdown for all of you guys right now. Will it affect the future of gaming? If it is passed, it certainly will. Super curious what your guys' thoughts are down below. As always, my name is Jake. I'll be back here tomorrow and later today as well, breaking down more esports news. Until then, take care. I'm out of breath. Goodbye.